in this video I'm going to explain how factories develop co-ops or joint ventures within the same city to buy goods and produce goods, and how you can take advantage of this situation for yourself in terms of pricing. Now, what will normally happen if they are a small factory with, say, only a handful of employees, or say less than 50 employees in their factory, what they'll normally do is, let's say for example you've got a small factory and they're located in let's say they're located in Guangzhou, and within a little area of Guangzhou there might be, say, 1,000 factories, and out of those 1,000 factories you might get 100 of those factories all in the same street or in close proximity to each other. They're all making the same product, and you're probably thinking, well, you know, all these factories are the same, they're all making the same product, you know, which factory should I go for? And you know, are they copying each other, or you know, what's going on here? So I just want to explain why they do this. Okay, the reason why they develop co-ops and joint ventures is because they can then pull the resources and funding together to you know, grow their own businesses and prosper together, because there's a lot of advantages of making the same products close by, because you have access to the same resources and the same technology and the same knowledge. So they feed off each other to benefit each other. Okay, so let's say for example you've got a bunch of factories, just call these product factories, and they make, let's say, a SLR camera. They don't make this particular camera, but let's just say they make an SLR camera. And what will happen is all these factories will, say, 5 of these factories will put their money together because they're only small, and then they will buy the metal that they need for this, to make this camera. So what they do is they buy it from the molding factory, and let's say that's the molding factory there, and this molding factory develops the casts, it develops the metal, and it develops the molds, okay, for the castings for this camera. And the molding factory gets it from the metal factory. It gets their metal, so then they can make the casts from the molding factory. Okay, so it looks something like this. Okay, so these guys here, they've all pulled their resources together, they've all put their money together, and each of them buys, say, 10,000 molds from this factory. It gives them X amount. So then this factory then goes and gets the metal to make the molds from this metal factory. So they pay them, and they get the metal back, and then they can start making the molds. And once they make the molds, they can then just give each one of these factories back 10,000 moles, or whatever moles they've negotiated for that price. So all these factories here get it cheaper, and then they all get their share. So then what happens now is these factories then produce this item, and they all make the same item. But the reason why, they might be asking, well, why would all these factories all in the same city and the same street all make the same item, and then, you know, they would be in competition with each other? And the reason why they do it is because, again, because they can get all the resources fairly cheap. They can pull their money, they can pull all their technology together as well, fairly cheap, and they can produce that item in a bulk way, and then distribute this item, export that item. If they were to try to do it by themselves, it would cost them a lot more, because at this point in time they don't have a lot of funds. You know, they don't have millions of dollars to put into research and development, and to buy all the moldings themselves, and buy all the lens themselves, and buy all these parts that need to go into this camera. They can't do it all themselves to get the better price. So if they co-op and buy in bulk directly from another factory, kind of like buying wholesale, they can get it done cheaper. So what they do is they then get all the parts for this camera. They get the moldings, the lenses, and all the electronics, all the microprocessors. All these parts that go into this camera all come from different factories. They might do some in-house production themselves that they can make, but if they can outsource it and get it cheaper, they'll buy it from, say, they'll definitely buy the lens from the lens factory and all these to make this camera. So then they've put this camera together, they brand it under their own name, and then this camera gets exported to sell to the world or to their customers for whatever price they want to sell it for. Okay, and that goes, it gets exported. So the main advantage for them is cost. Okay, so you might come across a whole bunch of cameras that all look the same, and then you're going to yourself, well, how do I figure out, you know, which company's real and who to go for? And the best way to do that is to contact all these companies individually, and then price match them against each other. And when you get your email inquiries back from them, and I show you how to do all this through the Import Enriches video e-course, you'll find that all these factories are in close proximity, or, you know, sometimes even down the road from each other, but they're all separate companies. There'll be probably a relationship between these companies, like, for example, the person that owns this one, well, the sister might own that one, and the brother might own that one. But there are all different separate entities and different companies, all operating within the same area. And what you do is you price match these factories against each other, looking for the best price for the camera that you want. and that way, see, all these factories, they want to win your business over because you're a new customer, and you want to they want to impress upon you so that they can get your business further on down the track. So you can play these businesses against each other to get the best possible price. Now, when you're sourcing the product, not always the best price is the best scenario, okay? Because what these factories do is, you may think that you're getting this particular product, and if they do the right thing by you, they'll send you exactly what you wanted. You might even want to buy, say, one camera from him, one camera from that factory, and to compare the quality. But what they'll do is they'll substitute the parts in this particular camera, and this has happened to me a number of times. And so when you get the item, you actually think that they look exactly the same. So when you have them side by side each other, they look exactly the same, they feel the same, they work the same. You can't tell the difference. But where they save money is in the components of the camera, and they substitute cheaper quality parts to save, sometimes 50 cents, $1 here and there. Because by the time you add all those costs up, and then you look at the volume that they export, say if they export 100,000 cameras a month, and if they can save 50 cents, they'll do that. Because if you're not knowledgeable on the product, on exactly what you're getting, and know what the lens is, the mechanics, the everything that's in this camera, you'll actually buy an inferior product, pay the same price, and then 3 months, 1 month down the track, this camera could default, break down, and then you have customers coming back to you. So it's very important that you understand that, and understand exactly what you're getting. See, where they can also jip you on the prices through the lens, the material the actual moldings are made from, and all the components in the camera as well. So these things might seem like very small, irrelevant things. You just want to buy the camera, you want to sell it, make a profit. You make a couple $100 on it, you're happy. But trust me on this, okay? The devil is in the details. And once you start getting into this stuff and buying products that are inferior, if you don't know what you're doing and don't know your stuff, you'll start to get these bad products, and these factories will jip you on the quality on it. So you always have to keep up to date, know exactly. Now, one way you can stop these factories from doing this to you, I'm not saying they all do to you, but eventually you'll come along one bad apple that will, and it happens to all of us. One way to do it is to send someone to the factory and take photos of every single process that you go through, from manufacturing, packaging, exporting, loading, every single process. It doesn't cost much, probably a few $100 US. Only do this when you first deal with the factory, and then depending on your relationship with them, you start seeing poor quality come through your quality control. Then you need to send someone out. But the best way is actually visit the factory yourself. Okay, it's the only way you're going to find out. So visit the factory yourself and see what they're actually putting in there. Even when you get the products, pull them all apart. It may seem like a lot of work, but trust me, once you go and you're getting through volume, and let's say for example you order 1,000 of these cameras, and let's say they cost you $100 a piece. $100 a piece. There's $10,000 worth of goods, and you're selling them for $500 each. Okay, you're making $400 profit. All these cameras go out to your customers, and all of a sudden you start getting a few come back. Then all of a sudden 10 or 15, 20, 30 of them come back. Okay, you're going to lose a lot of money because you haven't kept up with your quality control, and your supplier is starting to take advantage of this. Okay, so just keep an eye on your quality control, and know that these factories here, because if they're small factories and they're just starting up, they might, not saying all of them, but they might want to cut costs, and where they'll cut costs is for your components. Okay, so understand how all this process works, because once you understand it and once you really get into this, you will the more knowledge that you know, the more money you're going to make in the long run. Okay, so I know this has dragged on a bit, but I hope I've made a valid point, and this is just all part of the importing process. Anyway, through experience, you'll know this off by heart. If you want some more information on how to import like a pro, I'll put together a video e-course that basically 8 years of my experience through importing, and you can find that at importingriches.com.